Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Made for Business show where Catholic moms come to learn how to build a business that is simple, holy, and profitable. I'm your host, Sterling Jakewith, and today on episode 18, I wanted to do an episode about a day in the life of a Catholic life coach, a Catholic business coach with 6 kids. But I'm actually going to do the whole week so you can kind of see what my life is like because I know a lot of you are curious about that and you want to know how do you do it? Where is the time? What does your life actually look like? So, I'm going to do a mishmash of last week and this week so you can see what kind of a regular week is like for me and then also what a traveling week is like for me. So, last week I had 12 hours of appointments on my calendar. So those were meetings with people, one-on-one coaching calls, coaching, group coaching in masters, those kind of things where they're on the calendar. I've got to be there. I've got to be on. I'm meeting with someone or I'm coaching. And then I probably spend another 10 to 15 hours working on the business. So creating content. And so my goal is to land somewhere between 20 and 30 hours of work a week. That's kind of where I want to be. That feels very comfortable for me. And that's what my husband and I have talked about. And so I try to keep it there. And I do actually, for the most part. I certainly don't go over 30 hours, not at this point. And I'm really happy with where it's at. So, for example, on Monday, I recorded a podcast episode on someone else's podcast. I met with Larissa, my business partner for Made for Greatness, and we run a monthly life coaching membership. And then I did two one-on-one coaching calls. And then I'm kind of done. I was done at 3 p.m. on Monday. So I wake up usually around 7 in the morning and I pray and I chat with my husband for a little bit. I make tea. I really love drinking tea, so I make tea. And then I get my boys at 7:45. So their clock turns yellow at 7:45 and I get the boys ready. The girls get ready on their own. And then all of our kids have breakfast with my husband who makes breakfast around 8 a.m. We don't have a very rigid schedule with the children other than when the boys are allowed to come out of their room, but generally breakfast is around 8. And then after 8, my kids do their chores. So my oldest does our dishes, my 8-year-old does our laundry, and then the 6-year-old cleans off the table and then also does some things with bathrooms. So on this Monday that I'm looking at my schedule, I didn't have anything from 8 to 9. So I'll usually then clean with them if I have that time open, or I will do something in my room, a minimalism thing, and or I'm on a call. But for this particular Monday, I didn't. So I probably stayed in mom house mode until my first call at 9. And then I was in calls mostly from 9 to 3. And so I'll come out and I'll check in with my husband. He will do lunch with the kids unless I'm free at that time, but for this particular day I wasn't. And yeah, we have a pretty good rhythm, which really just involves us checking in a lot. So we'll be like, "Hi, how are you doing? Who has a coaching call? Who's taking care of the kids? Who needs something?" And we generally in the morning check in about meals. What are we eating for the 3 meals? Do we have everything we need? That kind of thing. But, we have a large family and we batch cook a lot of our food. And so most of that runs very smoothly. And my husband and I have pretty good communication about that. So then at 3 o'clock, my husband ended up having two back to back one on one coaching calls. So then I'm on kid duty. And most of the time when I'm on kid duty, I will go see what they're doing. I might do schooling stuff with the girls, which means setting them up with something to learn or to play or to do. I might read books to the boys or I might do more house stuff at that point. But if anybody needs anything, my husband's door is closed and locked, and I'm the parent that's on duty. Sometimes I might walk. It's pretty snowy right now here, but for all the months that it's not snowy, I love going for a walk and taking the kids with me and doing that with the dogs around our property. And so that's a pretty typical day for me where I have 5 hours of calls. I might do another hour of admin stuff and email cleanup, and then I'm hanging out with the family and keeping the house running and everything kind of going. And then on Tuesdays, I usually have 3 or 4 hours of calls and work in the morning, and then I'm done at lunchtime for the day. I love Tuesdays. It basically feels like a half day of working to me. And then I take my kids, one of them has violin lessons, but it's also like a play date with other homeschooling families. And then my kids go to religious education at church. And while they're doing that, I often will sit at a grocery store and journal or read a book or listen to a podcast. So I see my friends for a little bit, and then I often have time by myself while the kids are at religious education, and I've left the little boys home with my husband. So I have this kind of lovely half day with the older kids and then a little bit of time by myself where I'm often dreaming about my business or learning something. I'm not actually content creating or doing anything like that. So, yeah, half day on Tuesdays. And then on Wednesdays, my husband's been taking our oldest 3 skiing, and they're gone all day. So I don't schedule almost any calls on Wednesday. I do a lot of working on the business on Wednesdays because 'cause I'm on mom duty with the 2 little boys, but they kind of play, so I could still have my office door open and get some work done, but not I couldn't be on a call. And so those are the days where I'm writing emails or I'm making plans or I'm doing like a sales funnel or a sequence or I'm outlining a new program. I'm getting ready to shoot content, but I'm not shooting content. Sometimes, if I feel like washing my hair, I will shoot video when the boys are napping. So they do take a 2-hour nap, and sometimes I do utilize that time to record something or to shoot a video, but I'd say it's only 1 out of every 3 Wednesdays that I do that. So Wednesday feels like a working day to me, but it's all stuff that isn't time sensitive and it's not on the phone. So I can wear my sweats all day if I want on Wednesday. And then I have a coaching on this particular Wednesday I'm looking at, I did have 2 coaching calls in the evening after my husband came home. Then on Thursday, I also only work a half day on Thursdays. The morning time, I go and I teach Catechesis of the Good Shepherd at our parish. So I'm an atrium teacher and I take my boys with me because they're that age. I teach atrium and I carve out 3 hours for that. And I drop my older girls off at the library during that time. So during that time, they go and they return their books and they get new books. This is the first time in the 11 years that I've had children that we have a really good library rhythm. So that's new for us. I don't want you hearing that and being like, oh my gosh, how does she do that? It took me 11 years before we had a library rhythm. And now we have one and I love it. And I anchored it to something else, which is how we were able to pull it off. And my kids are old enough that I feel comfortable leaving them alone at the library. We live in a small town and the library is wonderful. And they're only 5 minutes from where I am and they have a phone and I just feel fine about it. So then I come home and I usually have a couple coaching calls on Thursdays. My husband also has a couple coaching calls on Thursdays. So we're kind of tag teaming, 1 hour for me, 1 hour for him. And we use Acuity, which is a scheduling software, and our Acuity calendars speak to each other. And so our clients could never schedule both of us at the same time. Once one of us has something on our calendar, both calendars then won't schedule something there. So that system has worked really well for us. We're not constantly talking about our schedule. Acuity manages our open coaching spots, and then he and I are individually responsible for blocking things out on the calendar. For example, my calendar is blocked Thursday mornings because I teach atrium. So a client could schedule something with him, but a client couldn't schedule something with me. And then on Fridays, I usually do, I just happen to have a bunch of one-on-one coaching clients that like to coach Friday mornings. So I usually do several hours of that. And then as a family, we go to mass on Fridays. So we used to go on Wednesdays, but because of ski lessons, we moved it to Fridays. So we go to noon mass on Fridays, and then we come home and we eat lunch. Usually I'm not doing anything after that mass. I don't usually have calls after that. I kind of work Friday mornings And then I might again work on my business, but usually by Fridays, my brain's pretty done and I'm tired and I want to put some fuzzy socks on and sit in my bed or hang out with the kids or journal or listen to podcasts, some of those things that don't take my prime energy. And so that's what Fridays look like. Um, Previously, I've not been doing work on Saturdays, but just recently I opened up the mornings for coaching or discovery calls. So I'm kind of testing that out and it's been working great so far. I realize I just can open that spot up and we're not really traveling and I'm feeling okay about that. So that's a typical week for me, like heavy Monday, half day Tuesday, working in the business, working on the business, right? Not doing coaching calls on Wednesday, half day Thursday, and then really a half day Friday. So that's what a typical week looks like for me. I only currently work one evening a week, and my husband works one evening a week. So we kind of decided that together, that that's what we were okay with as a family. But that could change as our schedules fill up. We're just always talking about what we feel comfortable with on our based on our schedule. Okay, so then this week, same Monday, I had a pretty stacked Monday coaching back to back to back to back to back. I'm usually eating lunch in 5 minutes in between my Monday appointments because Mondays are pretty stacked. But I kind of like that. Mondays are my favorite day of the week, and I love hitting the ground running and doing lots of coaching in Masters and in Made for Business with my one-on-one clients. And then this Tuesday, I flew to Boise. So I live an hour and a half away from the airport. And then I like to get there about an hour and a half early. So I leave 3 hours before I fly, and I was flying at 3 in the afternoon. And so I worked in the morning and then I spent some time with the kids because I knew I was going to be gone and tidied up the house because that's what moms do. And then I left um, in the late morning and I was gone from the house, right, from 11 a.m. on Tuesday and didn't get home until late Thursday night. So to my kids, it felt like 2.5 days that I was gone. And it was just a lovely amount of time. I love this stage of life that I'm in where my youngest is a 2.5-year-old and I can leave all the kids. And my husband, he loves hunting so much that he's happy to give me these trips in between the year. And it's pretty easy for him to manage the kids for 2.5 days. I don't love being gone more than 3 days. Like 3 calendar days is about the most I love to do. Every once in a while, I'll do 4 days, but I don't really enjoy it. I just don't enjoy it. I like being home with my kids. First of all, I love leaving for 2 to 3 days. So I want you to know that. I think it's so fantastic. I got the best sleep that I've had in months, and it was such a treat. And I really got to pray. I got to go to adoration and confession and a candlelight mass in Boise. If you're ever in Boise, go to the candlelight mass. It's amazing. And they have incense. It's not a full Latin mass, but it feels very Latin-y. And it was just lovely. And it's just nice to be able to discover yourself and be an adult and sit in a quiet room. So I really love that. But then I get antsy at 3 days. At 3 days, I'm like, I miss my babies and I want to go home. So that's what I did this week. And I was in Boise meeting with Larissa and we were taking pictures for our business. So that's always fun. And we were able to do that. And then I came home. And so now it's Friday. And another unusual thing is that my husband, as soon as I came home, packed up our 4 oldest kids and is taking them on a road trip. So I have the 2 little boys and I didn't have childcare this morning for them, and so I put on a 2-hour movie for them. But they are young enough and good enough listeners that they will stay in that room for 2 hours. I can be really focused with my clients, and then I can work for the 2 hours that they're napping. So they're napping right now, and I'm filming this video for you guys, and that'll probably be the last thing that I do for today, and then I'll be done for Friday. So that's kind of what my life looks like. At the moment, we don't have a nanny because my husband and I are able to trade off. As soon as our one-on-one coaching calendars fill up, probably 5 more hours, then that's when we'll bring someone in. We've always known that we were wanting to bring someone in probably even for 20 hours a week is where we're going. We're just not quite there yet. We're able to kind of manage it together and push our schedules around. Um, I will never probably plan on working more than 30 hours a week. That's kind of my goal, is to see if I can build a multiple seven-figure business working 30 hours a week. And I think I'd like to travel maybe 6 times a year, but that's feels on the upper end for me, either speaking at conferences or going to, you know, mastermind with my coach or meeting with Larissa. And so that's kind of where I like to keep it for now, but I'm always open to where God leads me and what that might look like in the future. So, any other questions for the day in the life of a Catholic life coach with 6 kids? I feel like I get to see my friends a lot. I feel like I get to do kid stuff with the kids and read books to them. I love getting to be an atrium teacher. I just really do feel like I have a wonderful balance right now of getting to do all the things that I want. I don't feel busy or rushed. I have a full calendar. When I look at the week, I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of appointments on there, but I'm never like, I have no time. I'm rushing from one thing to the other. I just block time out so I don't feel rushed, because I don't like that feeling. Eventually, I'd love to go to daily mass more, but at our stage of life right now, it's just not what we're choosing to prioritize. So, if you have any questions about how I do time management, how I spend my time, what we do with the kids, what we eat, anything like that, just comment either below the YouTube video or reach out to me at sterling@madeforgreatness.co, and I will answer those questions. You can find me on Instagram at Made for Greatness. No, Made for Business Coaching. Made for Business Coaching. And I love answering questions there. So thank you for listening. Get to work and have a blessed day.